From the El Toro Water District, I want to welcome Director Wyatt McLean, and we're going to be talking about some McDirty stuff on the show today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So we want to talk about people, how they treat their pipes, and it affects how the water district works and that kind of stuff. So let's talk about fog. What is fog? That's an
Fats,
acronym
oil,
for?
and grease.
Fats, oil, and grease.
Things you don't want to put down the drain. Just a quick story. We had our grandkids living with us a few years ago, and it was a great experience. But around the holidays, it was just great. I love smelling the turkey and everything. And I noticed they would cook and fix breakfast, lunch, whatever. And the kitchen was always very clean. But then I noticed our sink was all stopped up. And I asked them, I said, what do you kids usually do with the grease and this and that? Well, down the drain. I said, no, we probably shouldn't be doing that. Of course, I had to call the plumber and spend some money. But yeah, there's a lot of effect that can be from that in your local sink and then the infrastructure as well.
Right, and that can cause sewer backups,
Correct.
And then that has to be cleaned out and rotored out, so to speak, and that kind of thing. But when those things do go through the system and they go into a processing area where sewage is processed, it really can. It's a problem, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the district takes a lot of care to check our pipes and facilities. We even have little robots that'll go in the sewer itself and check for cracks and so forth. But it takes a lot of care to make sure everything's working correctly all the time. But absolutely, it can cause problems in the filters and in the system overall.
Right. And should we be putting stuff down the garbage disposal in the first place? Should we really just be kind of putting it in the trash in terms of waste? I mean, I know in Europe, they think it's crazy that we have garbage disposals in America. There's so many areas that they don't, garbage disposals, what's that?
Oh, no, absolutely true. Coffee grounds, eggshells, things of that nature. Actually, some of the cities now are putting out little containers where you can put food waste, and they'll pick them up with your green material as well. No, it's not something we should be doing.
We have another slide here, and we'll just kind of show the impact. See this up close in terms of the picture. This is nasty stuff, right?
Nasty.
This is what happens. This is the stuff we don't see, so we don't really realize it. And on the right, there's a picture of look at a sewage line kind of backing up into the street. And those are the things that can really happen just because of people putting the wrong stuff, their grease and things like that down the drain.
Oh, absolutely. And the district has a history of maintaining and taking care of those issues very, very well. But with commercial establishments, restaurants, and so forth, we have protocols that are in place there for just that kind of thing. But you don't want to see that. That's not good.
What do you know the process of what has to happen when they have to go down there and clear something like that out? I mean, is it just a day-long kind of thing? Is it damaging the pipes? Is it the costs? I imagine are pretty high for something like that.
Well, I don't know time-wise. I guess it would depend on the issue.
Right.
But they would certainly isolate it and clean it out, making sure everything was working correctly. And something we don't want and almost never have is an exposure, where any of the material would be in the wrong place. But time-wise, it would just depend on the blockage, I'm sure.
So like we said, don't put certain things down the garbage disposal. Fats, oils, and grease, fog, we know that one. Fruits and vegetables with skins. What's the problem with those? Do we know?
Well, it's just kind of hard in texture. Take a potato peel. It's not going to assimilate, if you will. It's not going to go through too well. And two, I think more and more we're looking at the disposal of those items. If we put them in the correct place, they can be probably used for other things, such as maybe turned into methane at some point or whatever.
Now, eggshells, when we hit the garbage disposal, we think they go down just fine and they disappear, but they don't really, they kind of get stuck in the pipe, right? They get kind of almost like silicate in there and just a little stick to the bottom of the pipe, right?
That's right. Not you want to put your hand in the disposal, but if you looked in there, you probably find residue even after you rotate the disposal.
They just they don't flow, right? They don't float. They kind of just drag and get really stuck.
Correct.
And then they capture other things that get stuck, right? So that's where that buildup starts to begin, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Very true. Coffee grounds as well.
And coffee grounds. See, maybe I'm crazy. I always heard, or I thought I heard, that coffee grounds were good. You put it in the garbage disposal, and somehow it helped.
No, it helps your plants. Some people put them in their
helps
plants.
Okay. All right. I don't drink coffee, so that's a good thing for me. I don't do that no matter
My
what.
wife puts it in the plants. Works pretty well, I guess. She's the gardener in the family.
So in terms of El Toro Water District and what you guys do, water safety is one of the biggest things you guys can do.
Yes.
Is this part of like safety in terms of making sure that everything's flowing right, everything's going the where it should be going, and just maintaining the community standards that you have?
Oh, very, very essential. And we have partner districts we work with in terms of where we buy water and transmit it and so forth. But it's critical both for the folks in our district, our good customers, and the area to maintain high standards and maintain our infrastructure, as I say, not only for the local area, but for the partners that we deal with and who we buy water from. Very critical.
Right, right. And when you guys do this kind of educational campaign, do you go to communities and do this? Do you talk to groups and things like that?
Oh yeah, that's a very good thing. We take a water truck out to community events. We did it with the Lake Forest City Night Out, I believe it was called. But go out and take the water truck out and show how water works and demonstrate the water. The water's great. And do demonstrations and so forth, how it works. And fire hydrants, we work with the fire departments on those issues to make sure they're working correctly, have the right pressure and so forth. Very active in that area.
In terms of maintenance of the sewer system, we had a little slide up there that talks about the fact that you guys are kind of looking at those things all day. You guys said scopes down there. There's root intrusions. There's all sorts of things that happen just in nature in terms of like a tree's growing and it gets into those pipes, and that can really be a major thing too. So in terms of maintenance, that's a big issue, right? It's
a big issue, and yeah, we have an active program on that. And it's amazing. You could look at a root intrusion and look around, gosh, I don't know, maybe a quarter mile maybe, and not see a tree or a bush, but it's amazing how far the roots will go to seek out the water. So it's something we're active on, yes.
When people are planting around their homes, should they be thinking about those things in terms of, well, we have pipes coming in, pipes going out? Is there a certain area they shouldn't be planting, or should they know where the pipes are to make sure maybe, hey, don't plant a tree right here because that's where your sewer line is?
Yeah, that's good to know. And they can certainly contact our district, El Toro Water District.com, and get information on that. And we can certainly give information in terms of what's good and not good. You look at older cities like Los Angeles where they've had trees in for, who knows, I don't know, 80, 100 years maybe, and built communities around it, they're having problems. And we do look for that in the area here as well in our agency.
So in terms of what we can do at home in terms of putting things in the right place, what are the kind of steps on how to dispose fog at home? What are the proper ways for us to do that? You say, hey, don't put it down the drain, don't use anything, but what should we be doing?
Well, you ought to take bacon grease, for example, let it cool, wipe it off with a towel, whatever the case may be, and put it in the trash and then dispose of it correctly. Anything you don't, nothing hazardous, obviously. Anything you don't know, contact us or your local city to determine that. But for the most part, if there's any question, dispose of it in the trash, assuming that's appropriate for the item.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, and you guys say you support, or like the disposal companies will put the bins out there.
Yes, sir.
I've noticed that. And how successful has that been in reducing? Do you guys know the numbers in terms of over the years we've been able to reduce, or we've been able to have success with that?
Well, the food portion of that, it just rolled out, I believe, a couple of months ago, at least in my city, Lake Forest. And they provided little bins where you can put the food waste, and then that's commingled with the green waste. It's a pretty new program, so I don't know for certain, but I think it's a good idea. It should be hopefully successful. That's pretty new.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you have to kind of like educate folks in terms of the change, because they're used to throwing things down the disposal. They were raised that way. Their parents did it and that kind of thing. So it's like, no, you just put it down the disposal. That's how you get rid of stuff.
Yes.
So is it really kind of the education part that you really guys want to get out there?
Oh yeah, we have our community activity group meetings as well, typically quarterly, and folks are more than welcome to come and attend that, and we put on presentations on various things and educate folks. And as I'd mentioned, we go out to community events and demonstrate water and how water systems work, and it's pretty interesting, very interesting stuff.
You guys do annual inspections for restaurants as well? There are annual inspections like that?
That's correct. We believe they call them grease traps. We go and inspect that and make sure they're operating in accordance with their permit. Check that, make sure they're not putting a bunch of material down the drain. That could be a big big item.
Are there special things that the restaurants have to do that we aren't required to do at home, or there's some things that their protocols are supposed to be following in terms of making sure that they're not clogging up lines because they have so much volume going through there?
Oh, there are. I am not conversant with all the protocol, and I tell you the truth on the commercial side. But yes, I'm sure they are. I know we're active on checking up on that.
All right, folks. So don't stuff those things down the garbage disposal. If it's food waste, put it in the trash, or have it. Hopefully, the disposal bins are coming to your neighborhood soon. I want to thank Wyatt McLean from El Toro Water District. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it too.